The night was dark and quiet in the small town of River Lake. The stars were bright, and a cool wind moved through the trees. Everything was peaceful until the sky broke open. A flash of blue light cut across the sky like lightning. It was too low, too fast. Birds flew away, dogs barked, and people looked up in fear. Something was falling from the sky. Jake Carter, a 17-year-old boy, stood outside his house. He loved watching the stars. But this was different. He saw it, a fireball crashing into the forest just beyond the hills. It shook the ground. A deep sound echoed like something had exploded. Jake grabbed his flashlight and ran. His parents were asleep. He didn't wait. His heart was beating fast. Was it a plane, a meteor, or something else? As he reached the forest, the air felt warmer. The trees near the crash site were burned, some still smoking. And then he saw it. Not a plane, not a rock. It was a ship, sleek, silver, glowing slightly, and broken on one side. It hummed quietly, as if it was alive. Jake stepped closer, flashlight shaking in his hand. Then he heard it. A voice, soft, scared, not human. "Help me!" Jake froze. "Who's there?" He called out. The voice came again, clearer this time. "Please, don't be afraid." From behind the ship, something moved. Someone, a girl, stepped into the light. But she was not just a girl. She looked human, maybe 18 or 19, but her skin had a soft glow. Her eyes were silver, not white, and her hair floated slightly, as if underwater. She was hurt. Her arm was bleeding with blue liquid, not red. She was shaking. Jake took a step back. What are you?" he asked. The girl looked at him, eyes full of pain and fear. She spoke slowly, carefully choosing her words. I am not from here. My name is Aria. I crashed. They are coming. Please. If I bond with you, will you let me in?" Jake didn't understand. Bond? What does that mean? I need energy. Connection. To survive. I cannot heal alone, she said. Bonding means I share memories, feelings. Just enough to stay alive. I promise. I won't hurt you. Jake didn't know what to say. She looked weak, scared, but honest. Then, sounds, voices in the distance. Dogs, barking, helicopters, flashlights. They are coming, she whispered. Humans, they will not understand. They will take me. Jake looked at her. He felt something, deep inside, a strange pull. Like his heart wanted to help her. He reached out his hand. Okay, he said softly. I'll help you. As soon as their hands touched, Jake's mind exploded. He saw flashes, not dreams, but memories. A silver city in the clouds. A planet burning. Ships flying through space. Arya screaming, running, hiding. Fear. And then, darkness. Jake fell to his knees, breathing hard. What was that? He gasped. Part of me, Arya said. I'm sorry. I had to show you, so you know the truth. Jake looked into her silver eyes. Are they chasing you? She nodded. Not just humans. Others from the stars. If they find me, they'll destroy everything. I carry something inside me. Something they want. And they will not stop. Jake helped her up. Come on, we have to hide you. They moved fast, deeper into the forest. Jake found an old cabin his grandfather used to visit. It was quiet, empty, and hidden by trees. He gave her water, covered her with a blanket. She rested. Jake sat beside her, heart still racing. What did you mean, if you bond with me? He asked again. Arya looked at him, her voice soft. It means I trust you. It means we are connected. If I live, you see what I see. You feel what I feel. Jake looked out the window. Flashlights were getting closer. He knew his life had changed forever. And the silence of that small cabin. He whispered, I said yes. So now I guess we're in this together. I saw fire. but it wasn't from Earth. I saw her memories, but they weren't mine. Jake opened his eyes with a sharp breath. His hands were shaking. He wasn't in the forest anymore. He was floating, or at least it felt like that. Around him, stars moved slowly, like dancing lights. A silver city was burning in the sky. Giant machines were falling. People were screaming, running, and in the center of it all stood Arya, her silver eyes full of tears. "Don't let them take me," she whispered in the memory. Then everything vanished. Jake woke up in the small, dark cabin. Sweat covered his face. His heart was racing. He looked beside him. Arya was still asleep, her breathing soft, but glowing a little brighter now. Jake touched his forehead. That dream, no, it wasn't a dream. It was her memory. Her pain. Her world. The bond had started. Morning came slowly. Outside, birds sang, pretending nothing was wrong. But Jake knew everything had changed. He stepped outside thinking, what was that place? Why did he feel like he had lived a life that wasn't his? Behind him, he heard Arya's voice. "You saw it, didn't you?" Jake turned. She stood at the door, looking weaker than before but calm. "Yeah," he said. "I saw the fire, the sky, your city. Destroyed." Arya walked slowly toward him. "That was my home. We called it Velaria. It was the heart of our star system. It is gone now." Jake sat on a log. His head still hurt. "Why did they destroy it?" he asked. "They wanted something," she said. "Something we were guarding. Something powerful. A key. I don't know why, but I think they believe I have it now." Jake looked at her. "Do you?" She shook her head. "I don't know. My memory, it's broken since the crash. The bond may help me remember more, but it will also affect you." Jake laughed nervously. "Yeah, I already feel different. I'm having visions. I feel your fear." "That's just the beginning," Arya said, sitting beside him. "The bond links us. You will feel my pain, but also my power." Jake blinked. "Power?" She raised her hand. A small light appeared on her palm. It floated like a tiny sun. Then, softly, it disappeared. Our people could heal, connect minds, even move objects. But here, your world is different. I'm weak. The air, the energy is strange." Jake nodded. "You said they're coming. Who are they?" Arya's face grew serious. "They're called the Kareth. Not machines, not fully alive either. They hunt across galaxies, and now, they know I'm here." Jake felt a chill. "Why Earth?" "Because," she said, "your planet is young, full of life, and unprotected." She looked at Jake, her voice softer. "And because of you." Jake frowned. "Me?" Arya nodded. "When I crashed, my ship chose this place. It didn't pick at random. Something called it. And I think that something is inside you." Jake stood, walking back and forth. "No, I'm just a normal kid. I go to school, play video games. I'm not special." She stepped closer. "Your DNA, it's not just human. Something inside you reacted to me. That's why the bond was possible. That's why I trusted you." Jake looked into her eyes. They weren't just glowing. They were searching deep into him. Suddenly, loud sounds echoed in the distance. Engines. Multiple. Arya grabbed his arm. "They found us." Jake looked out from the cabin window. Black vans, military symbols. Dogs barking. "Come on," he said. "We've got to move." Arya hesitated. "I'm still weak." Jake held out his hand again. "Then we finish the bond. Just enough so you can run." Arya stared at him, scared. "Are you sure?" Jake nodded. "Do it." She touched his hand. A bright light flashed between them. Jake felt a wave of energy move through his body. He saw more memories, this time her family, her training, her escape. But he also felt something else now. Strength. Jake turned to her. Let's go." Together, they ran out the back of the cabin and disappeared into the woods. Behind them, the soldiers searched the area. One of them, a man in black armor, touched the ground where Jake and Arya had stood. His eyes glowed faintly blue. He whispered into his device, "The bond has begun, and the hybrid is waking up." When Jake opened his eyes, he wasn't in the forest. He was falling, through stars, through fire, through memories that weren't his, and voices that weren't human. A voice echoed inside his head. "Run, they are here. The hunters are close." Then his eyes snapped open. He was back in the real world. Arya stood above him, shaking his shoulder, her silver eyes wide with fear. "Jake, wake up, we have to go." Outside the broken cabin window, the sound of engines grew louder. Trees shook from the weight of trucks. Voices shouted. Dogs barked. Jake stood up fast. His body ached, but he felt something else, a strange energy under his skin. Something new. "Something alien. They found us," he said, breathing hard. "Yes," Arya replied, "but they're not normal humans. One of them is like me, but twisted." Jake looked at her, confused. "What do you mean?" "There is a Kareth scout with them," she said, grabbing the small glowing stone from her belt. "He will sense the bond. He will sense you." Jake didn't wait. He grabbed his backpack, helped Arya up, and they slipped out the back. Through the forest they ran, fast, but careful. Behind them, black uniformed soldiers searched the area. They moved like machines, no shouting, no panic, just cold, trained movements. One of them stepped forward. His face was hidden under a helmet, but his eyes glowed pale blue through the visor. He kneeled, touched the ground where Arya had stood. His fingers sparked faintly. She was here. The hybrid too, they're close. The others nodded. The hunt had begun. Jake and Arya moved deeper into the forest. "Where are we going?" Jake asked. "There's a train station a few miles away. If we can reach it, we can disappear into the city." Jake looked down at her. "Are you strong enough?" "No," Arya said. "But the bond helps. I can borrow your energy, just a little." Suddenly, Jake tripped. His vision blurred for a moment. He felt dizzy. "You okay?" she asked. I don't know," Jake said, sitting down on a rock. "I think I saw something again." "What did you see?" "A man in a black suit, metal arms, silver eyes like yours, but colder. He was burning a city and laughing." Arya turned pale. "That's not a memory." Jake looked at her. "It's a warning," she said. "They're showing you the future. What will happen if they find me?" A loud sound echoed through the trees. A drone, black, round, and fast, zipped through the air above them. Red lights blinked. "They're scanning," Arya said. "Hide." They jumped behind a fallen log. The drone passed overhead, scanning the area with a soft buzz. Jake held his breath, then silenced. Jake and Arya kept moving. But it was clear now. They were being hunted. Meanwhile, the Kareth scout removed his helmet. His skin was smooth and metallic. His eyes glowed like glass. He raised his hand. Small ripples of energy moved through the air. "The human is changing. The bond is strong. He is becoming something else." He smiled coldly. "Good, let him run. The longer he bonds, the easier he is to break." Jake and Arya finally reached the train station, old, broken, and empty. A cargo train sat on the tracks, ready to leave. The engine was running. Just a few minutes left. They climbed into the last car, full of boxes and dust. Arya sat against the wall, breathing heavily. Jake looked out the window. "Do you think they'll find us?" "They will try," she said. "But for now, we're safe." Jake sat beside her. "Why do I feel stronger, but also scared?" "Because," she said softly, "you're changing. The bond is unlocking something inside you. Maybe it was always there. Jake stared at his hands. What am I becoming? Before Arya could answer, he heard something, not outside, inside his mind. A deep voice. Cold, not Arya's. You are not one of them. You are not one of us. You are a mistake. Jake's heart pounded. He looked at Arya. Did you hear that? She shook her head. He stood slowly, looking out into the night. I think someone else is inside my head. Far away in the forest. The Kareth scout smiled again. He closed his glowing eyes. The bond is complete. The boy hears me now. He turned to the humans beside him. Prepare the Skybreaker. We end this. Before he becomes unstoppable. Jake stood in front of the mirror, but the face staring back wasn't his. The eyes were silver. The skin was glowing. And the voice inside his head whispered, You're not who you think you are. The train moved through the night, slow and cold. Inside the last cargo car, Jake couldn't sleep. Arya was resting, her head leaning against a metal boxer. Breathing calm, but Jake? He was breaking. His heart beat too fast. His fingers sparked when he touched metal. He was hearing voices that didn't belong to him. He walked to a corner of the train car and looked at his reflection in a broken glass panel. His eyes, once brown, now flashed faint silver in the dark. What's happening to me? He whispered. Then, the voice again. You are waking up. The bond is only the beginning. Jake backed away from the mirror. No, I'm still human. Are you? Your blood says otherwise. He grabbed his head, trying to shut it out. Leave me alone. The voice laughed deep, cold. Not human. You let her in. Now you've opened the door for me too. Suddenly, Arya gasped and sat up. She looked at Jake, eyes wide. You heard him, didn't you? Jake turned to her slowly. You knew this would happen. Arya stood carefully. I hoped it wouldn't. I thought the bond would stay between us. But something else has entered. Jake walked toward her. Who is he? She looked down. He's called Raul, a Kareth commander. He connects minds, breaks them. He doesn't just hunt bodies. He hunts thoughts. Jake's voice shook. He's inside my head now. Arya nodded. He's trying to find weakness. Fear. If he controls you, he controls me. Jake clenched his fists. Then how do we stop him? We can't stop him, not yet. But we can hide. The train came to a stop at an abandoned freight yard. Rusted containers, broken lights, and silence. They climbed out and walked into the shadows of the city. Jake felt every sound louder, his senses sharper. His mind was splitting in two. You don't belong to Earth, Raul's voice hissed again. You were made from us. You will return to us. Jake dropped to his knees. Get out, he screamed. Arya rushed to him, kneeling. She touched his forehead. Her hand glowed. I can help, but only if you trust me. Jake nodded. She placed both hands on his temples. Her eyes closed. In his mind, the world shifted. They were no longer in the city. They stood in a black void, endless space. In front of them stood a tall figure, covered in dark armor, face hidden, only eyes glowing blue. Raul. You think you can protect him, little Valarian? Raul said. This boy is the key. His blood carries what we lost long ago. Arya stood firm. He is not yours. Jake stepped forward. Why me? What do you want? Raul raised one arm. A memory formed in the air. Jake saw a tall alien woman, Arya's mother, holding a baby. She gave you Earth, Raul said. She hid you among the humans, but your blood is not clean. You are half of us. Double quotes. Jake gasped. That baby was me? Arya's voice cracked. Your mother was Valerian. Your father was not. Raul took a step forward. Come to me, child. Accept what you are. We will remake Earth together. Jake stared at the figure, and then he smiled. No. Raul's eyes narrowed. Jake raised his hand. A pulse of white light shot out, hitting Rael's chest and breaking the vision apart. Jake woke up on the street, gasping. Arya looked at him, shocked. "You pushed him out," she said. "No one's ever done that before." Jake's hands glowed for a moment, then faded. "I'm not just bonded anymore," he said. "I'm becoming something else." Arya looked at him, almost afraid. "You're becoming a hybrid." Far away, Rael stood in a dark room on a Kareth ship orbiting above Earth. His body shook. His armor sparked. "He rejected me," he said to his soldiers. "The hybrid is stronger than expected." One of the Kareth asked, "What do we do?" Rael turned toward Earth. "We send the others. Begin the descent. Bring me the girl. And burn the city if you must." Back in the human world, Jake and Arya stood on the rooftop of an empty building, staring at the stars. "We need to find answers," Jake said. "Before they find us," Arya nodded. "Then we go to the source." The crash site wasn't the only ship that fell. There's another, buried deep under Earth. It holds the truth. Jake looked out into the night. "Then let's dig up the past, before the future destroys us." Long before humans walked the Earth, something else did. Something older than time. And now it's waking up. Lightning cracked across the night sky. Jake and Arya stood at the edge of a desert canyon, far from the cities, far from everything they knew. Beneath them, hidden deep below sand and stone, was the secret Arya had seen in her visions. Another ship, older than hers. Buried for centuries. It held answers about Jake's blood, his past, and Earth's future. 3 days had passed since Rael tried to take Jake's mind. Since then, Jake hadn't been the same. He didn't need sleep. He could see in the dark. And sometimes, he heard whispers in languages he'd never learned. He wasn't fully human anymore. And that truth was terrifying. As they climbed down the rocky path, Arya spoke. "My people came to Earth a long time ago, not to conquer, but to protect something, a gate, a hidden path to another part of the galaxy." Jake nodded. "You think it's down there?" "I saw it in my mother's memories," she replied. "She left it for someone with your blood." Jake laughed nervously. "So I'm a galactic security key now?" Arya didn't smile. "Yes, you might be." Hours later, they reached a flat rock wall, smooth and out of place in the wild canyon. Arya placed her glowing hand on a symbol. An ancient circle with 3 stars. The wall responded. It cracked, hummed, and slowly opened. A hidden door. Behind it, darkness. And a deep, cold wind. Jake held his breath and stepped inside. The tunnel was long and silent. Lights lit up as they walked, glowing soft blue under their feet. Then they saw it, the ship. Massive, silver, half buried in stone. Its design was older than Arya's ship, stranger, more alive. Jake placed his hand on the side. The ship pulsed under his touch. He saw images, stars dying, gates opening, battles in space. He saw a woman who looked like Arya, but older. "My mother," Jake whispered. "She was here," Arya said. "She hid you. She knew the Kareth would come." Jake turned slowly. "I'm not just a hybrid," he said. "I'm the last piece of something bigger." They entered the ship's core. In the center, a glowing orb hovered. It spoke in a calm voice. "Valerian gene found. Welcome, Bondborn." Jake stepped forward. "Who am I?" The orb responded. "You are code name Lux, a half-blood heir of Valerian gatekeepers. Designed to seal or open star paths. Protected by the Bond Protocol." Jake felt his knees weaken. "I was made?" "No," Arya said softly. "You were born, but with purpose." He looked at her. "That's why Rael wants me. Not just to kill me, but to use me." Arya nodded. "With you, he could open the gates, travel anywhere, conquer everything." Suddenly, alarms echoed through the cave. "Danger! Skybreaker ships approaching." Arya turned to Jake. They found us. Jake clenched his fists. Then let's make sure they don't leave. The orb released a panel. Inside it, a suit, black and silver. Built for a hybrid. Built for him. Jake touched it. The pieces floated and wrapped around him like it recognized his body. The suit locked. Lights glowed along his arms for the first time. He felt ready. Above them, Kareth ships began to descend. Soldiers in armor marched toward the canyon. Raul stood at the front. He spoke into the wind. Lux, son of 2 stars, open the gate, or Earth will burn. Jake heard him from below. He stepped forward. No more hiding, he said. Let's show them what a mistake it is to wake a sleeping star. What are you willing to give to save a world that was never truly yours? The words echoed in Jake's mind as he stood at the edge of the ancient ship's core. The air buzzed with energy. Above the canyon, Raul's fleet darkened the sky. Ships hovered like vultures, ready to strike. Arya stood beside Jake, her face pale, her voice shaking. If we complete the bond, we will become one. Jake stared at her. What does that mean? Arya looked down. No secrets. No walls. You'll feel everything. My fears, my past, my future. You'll become more like me. And I'll become more like you. Jake turned toward the glowing orb in the ship. Final sequence unlocked. Bond fusion ready, awaiting command. He looked at his hands, glowing faintly now. The alien suit pulsing with energy. His heart thumped like a drum. The voices in. His mind had gone silent. The world was holding its breath. Suddenly, a loud crash shook the canyon. Dust fell from the ceiling. They were out of time. The Kareth were landing. Arya took a shaky step closer. Can't hold them back alone. Not anymore. If we fuse completely, we may stop them. But Jake interrupted. But I won't be human anymore. Arya nodded. You'll become something new, something in between. He looked up at the sky, thinking of his mother, the woman in the memories. The one who had hidden him here, given him a life, a home, a planet full of laughter, noise, and now war. He thought of his father, the one he never knew, whose blood now gave him power. And danger. And he thought of himself, Jake Carter, a boy who once played video games in his room, who had no idea that inside his chest, a galaxy was waiting to wake. Footsteps echoed in the tunnel. Raul's soldiers had entered the ship. Arya placed a hand on Jake's chest. You don't have to do this. Jake looked at her. But if I don't, you'll die. A pause. Silence. Then Jake whispered, if I bond with you, will you let me in? She smiled softly. Yes. He took her hand. The moment they touched, the world exploded, not with sound, but with light, white, pure, endless. Jake was standing in space again, but not alone. Arya was beside him, but this time, there were no words. No fear, just truth. He saw everything. Arya's childhood, her first training flight, her last goodbye to her mother, the crash, the pain, the loneliness, and she saw the sound of Earth's rain, his first bike ride, his dog, his favorite songs, the quiet dinners with a mother who always seemed sad but smiled anyway. Their hearts opened. Their souls reached, and then they fused. Back in the real world, the light faded. Jake collapsed to the floor, breathing hard. Arya knelt beside him, also changed. Her glow now matched his. Their eyes both silver and blue, their pulse the same. They were no longer two. They were one, 2 minds, 1 body, 2 souls moving in sync. Outside, the ship began to rise. Floating. Alive. Raw. Al stormed into the ship's heart. He paused. He felt it. The fusion. No, he growled. He chose her over power. He raised his weapon. But Jake, no, they raised their hand. A wave of energy blasted outward. The metal in Raul's armor cracked. The walls shook. Jake's voice was deeper now. Not just his, but theirs. You wanted the gate. You wanted control. But what you didn't understand, he stepped forward, glowing with light, is that we were never meant to be used. We were meant to protect. The final battle began. Energy tore through the canyon as Kareth's ships fired on the rising vessel. But Jake and Arya moved as one. They called the ships defense systems. They summoned the light from the fusion core. They fought with heart, memory, power, and love. For Earth, for Valaria, for each other. And as the last Kareth ship fell from the sky, burning in its own shadow, Jake stood beneath the stars, not as a boy, not as an alien, but as a bridge between two worlds, a symbol of what was possible when two souls dared to trust. In the silence after the war, the stars felt closer, not because they had moved, but because someone had reached them. Smoke still rose from the canyon. Broken Kareth ships burned under the orange sky. The wind carried the scent of dust, fire, and freedom. But in the center of the battlefield, Jake Carter stood still, not fully human. Not fully alien, something new. His skin no longer glowed, but the energy inside him had changed. His heart beat slow and strong. His breath was calm, not just his own, but also Arya's. They still shared the bond, but now it was no longer just about survival. It was purpose. The world above was waking up. Satellites had seen the battle. Governments were asking questions. Some called it an attack. Others called it a miracle, but no one had answers. Except Jake, and he wasn't ready to speak yet. He walked through the canyon quietly, his mind full of voices, memories that weren't his. The ship had returned underground, hidden once again. Safe. Arya stood nearby, looking up at the sky. They'll come again, she said. Jake nodded. But next time, we won't be running. She looked at him. You're different. So are you, Jake replied. A moment of silence passed. Then she said softly, I didn't know if the bond would work. I thought it might destroy us. Jake smiled gently. It didn't destroy us. It made us whole. Later, they sat on a hill as night fell. Stars blinked into view. One of them, a tiny red light, moved unnaturally across the sky. Arya noticed it first. That's not a star, she said. Jake focused. No, it's a ship. But it wasn't Kerath. It was Velar, Ian. His mother's people. That night, the ship landed far from the city. Quiet. Hidden. From it stepped three beings, tall, graceful, glowing faintly. They didn't speak at first. They simply looked at Jake and smiled. One of them bowed. You are the one who held the line, he said. You are the hybrid, the star-bonded. Jake stood unsure. I'm just Jake. Arya stepped forward. He's more than that. He stopped Ra. He saved Earth. And me. The Valerian leader nodded. Then it's time Earth knew who walks among them. In the days that followed, everything changed. The Valerians didn't attack. They offered peace, knowledge, healing. They helped rebuild what was broken. And Jake? He became a voice between two worlds. He stood before leaders and said, yes, I am different. But I am also yours. I grew up here. I learned kindness here. Earth made me human. Valaria made me whole. And now, I will protect both. And the world listened. Some feared him. Some called him a hero. But all of them remembered the day the sky burned, and how one boy stopped a war. 1 year later, children ran through the same fields where ships had once crashed. The world had changed, slower than it should have, faster than anyone expected. Jake now lived between Earth and stars, traveling, learning, protecting. He was still Jake, but also more. One evening, he returned to the forest where it all began. He stood where Arya had first asked him, if I bond with you, will you let me in? He smiled. She stood beside him now, stronger, free. Her eyes no longer afraid. Jake looked up at the stars, then whispered, "Now, I ask the same." He raised his hand. A light shot into the sky, a beacon. An invitation, not for war, but for peace.